Warning. This podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis and trans women. If you are genderqueer, gender fluid, figuring it out, anything in between, and feel like this conversation is also important for you, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Sweet romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi, y'all. This is Jace, she, they, and you found Jace Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. And not all opinions about romance novels are subjective. Some of them have to be objective. If you have no idea why I started with that, and I know, Seffi, it's not my usual funny banter. I've ruined it. I've ruined the streak. We talked last week about subjective opinions when it comes to romance novels, and specifically how it impacts my rating system, the vibes, the feeling, and how I rate things the way that I do. But there are some objective criticisms that you can make about even a creative endeavor like a romance novel.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about some of the objective things that I do look for or critique, and also how I hold myself accountable to accurate, objective criticism.
Yeah.
Because even you can be wrong. And I have been wrong. And I try not to be by doing things that we'll talk about in a bit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes absolute sense.
Thank you. So I think the easiest thing to critique objectively about a novel or a book or a piece of writing is the writing.
Yeah.
And specifically things that are objective. Are they using the correct spelling, proper punctuation?
Yeah.
Is the formatting easy to follow or confusing? These are objective things. Now, some of them are subjective. Like maybe you don't like too many paragraphs or short chapters or long chapters. That's subjective.
Yeah.
But objectively, are they using the language in which you are reading the book correctly?
Exactly.
And even more still, are you actually looking for objective things? If you prefer color spelled the American way versus the British way, that is not an objective opinion. That is a subjective opinion. But if someone writes color, COLORE, that is incorrect. And you can critique that.
Yes.
Now, you might critique the author for the typo. You might critique their editor for not catching it, their copywriter. There are critiques that you can make about how it happened and how that mistake got there. You don't know how the mistake got there. It could have been literally a typo. My R and my E got really close together. You don't know. But the fact that it stayed there through that process, through rereads and rewrites and edits, you absolutely can critique.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a thing that can jar you out of the reading itself. And so you want to be able to and not saying this in a bad way at all. It's just for someone like me, I notice that, and it just sticks in my brain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was spelled wrong. And I'm not going to be able to get over it because it's just right there glaring. And so it takes me completely out of the reading experience.
Yeah. There are other things in that objective nature when it comes to the writing specifically that you can critique.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if facts are wrong, if you're reading a historical romance and they are trying to bring in a factual event and they have labeled it as the wrong name or the wrong year or the wrong participants, and not, you know, like in a Forrest Gump way where he's at every major event for like 30 years. I mean, if you said like Napoleon did not lose, you know, like whatever it is, or he won. Yeah, exactly. He won the Battle of, no, that's wrong. Or you got the date wrong or the monarch wrong. You're like, ooh, you said it was Victoria, but she was dead by then. Like there are things that you can get incorrectly.
Yeah.
Or squishing of technologies in weird places. If it is post 2000, people have cell phones and computers.
Yes.
If it is pre-2000, no one really has a cell phone, or you're not allowed to use it.
Right.
Like no one.
Was few and far between, really, and it was like the Nokia bricks that you had, or like the Motorola razors but that was even post 2000. Were the razors. That
was post 2000. That was, 2004, 2003, I think.
Yeah.
They're back now. They're back. Historical facts, figures, things of that nature, those can be incorrect.
Yes.
Another way things are incorrect, and you can critique them, are geography. And it is like a joy, I know, to play Do You Actually Know This City?
Yes. Yes.
And I do remember reading a book about Chicago, and I adore this author, so I will not name names.
Yeah.
But she said someone could walk from downtown to Hyde Park on their lunch break.
No.
I'm like, ooh, friend. No, that is many miles.
That's a lot of miles.
That's many miles. And some of those miles you don't want to necessarily be walking. Like,
exactly.
You don't want to be walking those miles. No. So I know it happens a lot in New York City because it's where a lot of settings are, but geographically incorrect things where the timing is wrong, you can critique that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
And the funny thing is, a lot of stuff, like, you'll never notice unless you're from that city.
Exactly.
Like, no one who's not from Chicago would go, that's inherently wrong. And maybe you don't even check.
Yeah.
If the geography is correct, which is also valid. Like,
absolutely.
You don't need to fact check. You can be here for the vibes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when we're talking about criticism and putting our opinions on the internet, and I really, things that you can, but I also am sharing things that I will criticize objectively in a book.
Yeah.
Are these types of things,
yeah.
like typos, like historical inaccuracies, to a certain extent. I can suspend my disbelief in some ways.
Well, and I was going to say, with the historical stuff, there's also a caveat. If you have like a historical romance that's also kind of like an alternate universe type of thing.
Yes.
So that you can, that's probably where you would be able to suspend your disbelief a little bit better, just because they are kind of playing around in a different sort of time than what the actual historical fact and record would be.
It's mostly in the opportunities that women get, that some of them got opportunities, but most of them didn't. And so when there's a story about women being able to kind of shake off the societal expectations or pigeonholes that they're normally in, I like seeing that, and I wish that were history. But I'm talking about facts and figures, like what monarch it is, like what it's some of the technology that exists, and you think to yourself, like, I don't know if you had all of those things together. Like we were talking about, I know Phantasma was a a PNR, it's paranormal romance,
Yeah.
there's magic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you put it in the real world, and so you were supposed to adhere to real world things. And if
Exactly.
you listen to the book club episode with
Yeah.
Betsy, we both went, we don't know what time this is. There are cars and septum piercings, which she made a big deal out of, but I think septum piercings have been around for longer.
They have. I'm pretty sure they
Who do
have.
they- I
It's
was like,
kind of like,
they've been around.
yeah, it's kind of like the name Tiffany. That's been around since medieval ages.
Yeah,
People don't realize
it's not
that.
just that brand.
Yeah.
It's not the brand, but you don't necessarily get corsets and commercial plane rides at the same time
Yeah. Unless
in my
you're
brain.
unless you're marketing it as like a steampunk type-esque story.
Which is, it's paranormal. So we couldn't figure that out. And
Yeah.
like, that is an objective thing that we had because
Yeah.
you're claiming it's a real place at a real time.
Yeah.
Just with magic. But steampunk is, I think, of a kind of, it's a magic in itself. Like
Yes.
this, I love Beth McMaster
Mhm.
has a great steampunk vampire series. Oh my God, it's so good.
I feel like you've told me about this series before
Probably.
because
Probably.
it's
And so,
vampires. So
because it's vampires and I love it.
yeah.
And so I don't mind that Becca McMaster's steampunk vampires have things like mechanical horses that are used as crowd control because it's all made up and that's
Yeah.
that genre.
Exactly. But if you are focusing
Yeah.
on a historical time period
Time period.
and you're trying and like with other instances throughout the story, you are very obviously trying to stick to the time period and the all of the machinations that come with it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a fun big word. You have to make sure that you are factually correct in every
Yes.
point so that it ties
Yeah.
it together.
I think the only time it won't annoy me is when an author in an author's note before the story starts goes, I did this on purpose because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then I can go, fine.
Yeah. Then you
Fine.
can go into it knowing like, okay, this is going to be a little wonky.
Yes.
I can prepare myself. But if you're not prepared for it, it can dampen.
It's really frustrating.
It can frustrate you and it can dampen the reading experience.
Exactly. So objective things when it comes to writing like that. And I'm going to skip a lot of other things because plot and characters and all that stuff, those are pretty much all subjective.
Yeah.
Unless you have jobs that are incorrect and, you know, you didn't do a good research on the nuance of someone's job or whatever it was. Like, there are definitely facts you can get wrong.
I judge if you get something wrong when it comes to pharmacy. I judge hard.
I was about to say, you probably have so much that you can judge.
Yeah.
Also, and part of me judges these types of things because the answers are out there.
Exactly.
Like, there is the internet, and there are reliable sources.
Yeah.
Wikipedia is not one of them,
No.
but there are reliable sources out there for you to figure these answers out.
Exactly. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to find the answers from a reputable source somewhere.
Yes, exactly. And so, like, those types of things, yeah, would bother you. Like, Chicago would bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember reading a book and a character was a specific religion and they got they got the holiday wrong of that religion. And I was like, that's not
That's not,
that's not how that works. And like, I can't, number one, like, that one was a really easy fix.
yeah.
And I can't believe everyone in the process
Missed it.
but it was just so like, and so there are factual things that you can get. And this is going to lead me into, I think it is really important that you build diversity into your world. And we've talked about this, that even if you are not comfortable giving a point of view character a different belief system or a different ethnicity or sexuality than you have, I think that's valid. It's not your lived experience. You might not feel you can speak authentically. I know that there are also female writers who don't write a point of view from the male perspective because they don't feel like they can write it
Yeah.
authentically.
Which is completely
But
fair.
there is a totally fair.
Mhm.
And maybe it's just not in your repertoire or skill set or comfort zone now. It could be something you try later.
Yeah.
Who knows? But you can certainly add diversity, and should, into the world around you.
Yeah.
And you can do it correctly. Like if
Yeah.
you said Dia de los Muertos was October 30th.
No.
Nope. Or if you didn't understand how Ramadan worked, or Lunar New Year. Like there are, or cultural significant, like just little cultural touchstones that like speak to the person that you are
Yeah,
writing.
exactly.
But that is something you can look for on the internet.
Yes.
You can look it up.
Yes.
If you want to, you can look up on the internet. Hello, how do they say this in Pakistan versus Egypt versus Malaysia versus maybe America? Like you don't, there are different dialects for these things. I love it when I am shown a different culture or religion or something and I have to go, what is that?
Yeah.
And I learn something new. And sometimes what you learn is the way it was used was incorrect.
Exactly.
That's when you look it up.
Yeah. And it's
and you're like, okay, you said Lambda, but the way that you described this is definitely a sorry, or like some other variation.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things about reading any type of novel or book is that we have the ability in this day and age to look up the things we don't understand and we don't know about.
Yeah.
And expand our knowledge and expand our diversity, knowledge, like in general, to encompass all of that. It's why I love books.
It's important. It's so fun and it's so important. And there are parts of me that wish that books came with like cultural touchstones. But I also know that it's not the author's job to do that for me.
No.
And so like sometimes it's annoying. Like I have sometimes will like put a special tab in a physical book and be like, okay, this is where, like, especially if I'm like on a roll, or I'll pause and I'll look it up and I'll put things in there. Or some e-readers are so easy, especially if you've got one connected to the internet, and then it just takes you to the internet and you go, oh, that's what it is. Damn it.
Yes.
But so cultural touchstones and use of colloquialism and slang, and also understand that if someone is speaking in a very specific dialect or accent, yes, I'm nerd enough to know that they are two different things, and I will die on that hill.
They are. Absolutely, they are.
They are two different things. They are two different things.
So different.
And I will die on the hill. So, but you, if that's not a familiar accent or dialect to you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong.
Right.
You might need to go listen to it and understand that. The joke is, especially, I know more about English-speaking countries than non-English-speaking countries, so I'm sure that this exists in multiple places. But, you know, the joke is like the American North or the American South. But, you know, New York is different than Boston, than different than Long Island, than different than Jersey, different than Buffalo or Philly.
Yeah.
And a lot of those really regional accents, especially in the States, have kind of gone away.
Yeah.
But if you go places that have a much longer history than we do and are very much tied to, you know, that village, you go from village to village in parts of the UK and they have different accents. And they can tell if you're from their village or the one like 2 miles away, and the people from 2 miles away, they speak weird. Like it's so regional, and it's so
crazy. It is crazy, but it's
important.
It's amazing at the same time. Like,
it's pretty darn cool.
It is. It is. I remember
it's pretty darn cool.
I remember when I was in London for school almost 20 years ago. We were at I think we were sitting at Leicester Square waiting for like the half price ticket booth to open that they have there.
Yes.
And there was a lady who was with some missionaries there, and she was talking to a few of us, and she's like, "Where are you guys from?" We're like, "Oh, we're from Iowa," and she's like, I used to have some students that lived with me from Chicago, and I recognized your accent, and all of us, yeah, and all of us were like,
Okay, sorry.
"What?"
Because to you don't speak like a Chicago accent, but also and
It's
I
just
think
that
a lot of people in the city,
Midwestern
like, that there is a Midwest
There
neutral,
is.
but it's so funny because the Chicago accent that people talk about is, dubbers.
Yeah.
And it's a very neighborhood accent in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's not most of it, especially because a lot of people who live in cities like New York and LA, like there are people who come from all over to live here.
Yeah.
And so it's really, did you grow up here in that specific kind of area as well? And I know that even in New York, people who are from Staten Island talk differently than they than they do from Brooklyn or from the Bronx or from the Heights. There can be very localized dialects that people speak. And it's so interesting. So these are all things that you can objectively discern whether they were correct or not, because there is a correct and not.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if you have gotten this far in the episode, you can infer that there are other factual things that can be correct or not in a book.
Yes.
And now we're going to go and talk about sex.
Woohoo!
Yes, because there are both objective and subjective ways that we can critique sex.
Yes.
And for me, I try not to let my subjective feelings move into my criticism of sex as written in romance novels. In real life, it's all subjective, and I will criticize you subjectively about the sex that I have with you. But because it's all about me.
That needs to be a clip.
Not true.
That needs to be a clip. Just that quote.
Oh boy. So there are things that are certainly subjective. Do you like that move? Is it appealing?
Yeah.
When you get into the less vanilla, do you like the power exchange or the language used or the kink that is portrayed? Now, do I like it is not what I choose to critique on the internets.
Right.
I personally, and y'all know this, I dislike it when a man person calls, I dislike it when any person calls a woman baby. I don't like it.
Yeah, you don't.
It makes me feel icky.
Yeah.
But I don't lessen my rating of a book or a sex scene or that because that's my subjective feeling.
Yeah, because
it's not factually wrong.
Yeah.
Some people love the nickname.
Yeah.
I don't. But things that I critique in sex are, do you know where the parts are? And that seems like such a basic thing to say. I'm not talking about monster romance. I'm not talking about like paranormal creatures, dragons. No, I'm talking about, do you know where the parts are? And I have to say that because sometimes it feels like you do not know where parts are.
What?
I remember I have been reading for over 2 decades.
Yeah.
I started reading Kindle Unlimited books at the beginning of Kindle Unlimited when anybody could put that shit out there. I think I got Kindle Unlimited like in 2016.
When it first came out. Oh gosh, yeah. Dang.
Yeah. I'm a slut for some vampire romance. And there are things that just do not, like, tab A should not go into slot B, which is my favorite. I don't know why it is still my favorite euphemism for sex.
Because it's hilarious.
It is my favorite. It is the least sexy, but I will give so many brownie points when I see that. Tab A into slot B. It always makes me laugh. I also, and this is a subjective thing, but depending on how it's used, I sometimes find objective. Like if you're dealing with a monster cock.
Yeah.
Monster cock can be 12 inches long. But if we're talking about dark romance, if we're talking about paranormal, if we're talking about, and like, for example, queer Omegaverse sex. I throw up my hands. There's nothing objective to critique because you've got clits that grow to the size of being able to be used for penetration.
Yes. You
have self-lubricating assholes that connect to reproductive organs, and then children are birthed out of the anus. Like that is not correct. In other kind of monster things, you have monsters with 2 dicks and vibrating tails. Like you just have to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not talking about that. Oh my God, it was so funny. I almost screamed this out loud. I was at a panel the other week and everybody was talking about The Door book. And I'm like, can we just say it's called Unhinged by Vera Valentine? Can we just say it? Like, don't call it The Door book. Just like name names, people. Right. It's Unhinged by Vera Valentine. And yes, a woman is able to put a doorknob into her vagina.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, is it the same as fisting? Probably.
Similar, yeah.
You know, I'm
yeah,
doorknob sized.
Yeah,
doorknob sized. And so, is it like outside of the realm of possibility? Kind of, yes. Also, no prep, just lube and a prayer.
Oh,
so like,
oh God,
I'm just thinking like I'm looking at my doorknob over there. Number one, I do not feel sexual feelings for my doorknob. I need to be very clear about this. But like, just logistically, the height of the doorknob.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm really tall.
Yeah. I'm
like I have like 5'9" legs and like a 5'2" torso. Like I don't know if I would line up correctly. With that.
I'm looking at the closest door to me, which is my closet.
Yeah.
I definitely would not.
I would not line up.
No.
Yeah. And that's another thing I do, you know, if everybody lines up perfectly for a height difference, if you're 6'5" and she's 5'2", and you don't talk about the fact that she's basically at your belly button when you're fucking her.
Yeah.
Like,
that is also
like,
something.
Get your Barbie dolls out. It doesn't work.
You can check it on the internet. There are height measurements. Like there are apps. There are things.
Height measurements. You can even, like, I'm not saying you should learn sex techniques from porn,
nope.
But you can see very tall people and very small people and go, okay, what are positions that look slightly realistic, but also, oh, if he did that, if he's on his forearms fucking someone who's 5'2", she's below his sternum.
Yeah, they're not face to face.
She's being suffocated.
Exactly.
And like, if you tell me 6'5", 5'2", he's on top and they're kissing, I'm like, honey, no.
That is hurting his back.
There's no way that his mouth is getting all the way down there while he's still inside her.
Yeah, no.
And don't tell me to suspend my disbelief. Like, there are ways in which I can do it.
Yeah.
Monster penis, dragon penis.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
But if we're in a contemporary romance, realistic setting, I want realistic sex.
Yes.
Now, is it still fantastical, realistic sex? Yes. Mm-hmm. She comes, you're magic, you know exactly where her buttons are. You reach in, you curl up, and you hit the G-spot. Wonderful. First try, congratulations. That is the fantasy element I'm willing to have in my
Yes.
contemporary romance sex.
Yes.
But like, you don't get to have a 12-inch dick in a 5'2" person the first time they have sex and have it feel good.
No.
Like,
that just
please remember the first time you had sex. Was it with an average size penis?
mm-hmm.
Just think about it. We don't need to judge. My guess is you didn't use lube because you didn't know any better. My guess is you were nervous as fuck, certainly not relaxing. You didn't know how to relax down there. My guess is if you had a hymen that was intact, and remember, not everybody does.
Yeah.
Hymens can break for lots of different reasons. But if you had an intact hymen, it probably didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And my guess is, at whatever age you were at, your partner had no idea how to like externally stimulate your clit to make any sort of orgasm happen that would potentially distract you from the pain of having a phallus shoved into your vagina.
Yes. Yeah.
They might not even have known what prep work was. They might not even have loosened you up with a finger. Like, there is no way. The first, like, anytime there's a virgin and a monster cock, and suddenly the sex that she loses her virginity to makes her come 3 times, I'm like, okay, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I love you, but you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is like objectively to me, and I'm talking about like the generalization. Like, is there someone who's going to listen to this who is 5'2" and their hymen was intact and they had sex with a monster penis and their partner actually knew what they were doing? And so all of the steps that they needed to make it magical actually happened. There are too many people on this earth for me to say no.
Exactly.
It is,
yeah.
It probably has happened that someone's experience was magical. But for most of us, that is not how it went. I don't know if you've ever had sex with a penis that was so big you couldn't have sex in certain positions. Have you?
Me? No, I have not.
Yeah.
I have not.
I have. Yeah, if you have a monster penis, there are certain positions that you've got to either like prep for or not do.
Yeah.
What if you're someone who doesn't like their cervix hit? Then you've got to avoid positions that get you in the cervix. You got to like doggy style with your legs together, and like you got to also have a big ass so like it stops them. Like there are ways.
I'm glad that we just got that tutorial. I am so happy. Ooh, Jace is red right now.
I haven't thought about that one in a really long time. It just like came from the depths of my memories.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. I don't want to give that person too big of an ego. Not that they're ever going to listen to this, but like just because you have a big dick also doesn't mean you know how to use it. Thank you.
Boom. That's a mic drop moment because
it's just a mic drop.
Just no.
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 So there are objective things in sex, and if you don't care about realistic sex, that's fine. Romance novels as a whole, they are not how-to guides for necessarily how to fuck or build relationships or things of that nature. But what I think that they do is that they open our mind to what can be. They are fantastical in that way. And they might just be fantastical in that you have a partner who cares, like bare minimum. It might be fantastical in that, you know, you get to try something new. There are certain techniques. And we've talked about, you know, recreating steamy scenes. You can't do it beat for beat. That's not how sex works. But there are things that, especially in a realistic contemporary setting, I think should be realistic.
Yes.
In intimacy. Now, how do I hold objective criticism for things that I maybe have not experienced?
Oh.
I do fucking research.
Yeah.
And we were joking about this the other week, and by joking I mean please someone send this to us.
Yes.
But like I have never experienced a pierced phallus.
Yeah.
I know pierced phalluses exist, and I've heard people talk about them on both sides. People who have a pierced phallus, people who have had sex with a pierced phallus. How does it feel? What is fun about it? What is maybe not fun about it? All sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to, I'm sure I could find a pierced phallus. I am sure that I could be that weirdo who's like, only pierced phallus, please. Or find a toy.
Yeah.
Or make a toy. Like I'm like, I'm sure someone has a homemade pierced dildo. I'm sure.
Because they have the
I'm
silicone
sure they have
mold your dick.
nodding, ejaculating dildos.
Yeah.
You have, like, I can't imagine that someone hasn't made one with piercings if you have people who create nodding, ejaculating dildos.
Exactly. It's got to be somewhere.
Like, it's got to be there. It's probably on Etsy.
Oh no.
Like,
I mean,
and I only say that because that's where I've seen some of the craziest dildos ever. Like, just go to Etsy.
I was gonna say, I mean, you're probably not wrong. So
I'm probably not wrong. I might actually do some research after this because this is now like the second time we've brought it up. Or positions that I've never felt, or kinks that I've never tried. And that's really important. I think that kink is something that I really hold it against authors when kink is described inaccurately or poorly. And as someone who does not participate in most kinks or has little to no experience in most kinks, but loves to read about them, it's really important for me to understand how those dynamics and those experiences happen safely, accurately, with consent, negotiation, things that it's one of the reasons why I think the now ubiquitous good girl really annoys me. It's because when good girl was first introduced into the romance vernacular, it was through kink.
Yeah.
It was through like praise or dynamics or like things of that nature. And then it became everyone. And I don't mind a good girl when used effectively.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I find that it's now the kind of thing, like someone was saying how it feels like every romance novel or every other romance novel has to the hilt. And they were like, I don't even know what that means. And I'm like, well, it's a real phrase. It means to the hilt of a sword. Sword. When it stops.
Yeah.
You're stopped, dude. It's when a phallus goes in as far as it can go and it's stopped.
Well, and the whole
like that's like, what
a sword is a phallic representation anyways, so
yes it is. But they were saying, why does everything have to the hilt, to the hilt, to the hilt? It's I don't even, and then they actually looked it up and it's a real thing. But I kind of feel that way about good girl.
Yeah.
And I also don't love it because it feels a little bit like baby used poorly. Like baby feels infantilizing to, is that like infantilizing to me? Infantilizing. And good girl, when used ineffectively, feels the same way. I'm not a girl. I'm a woman. I am 37 years old. I have looked old for my age for as long as I can remember. I got, excuse me, ma'am, at the age of 13. There's no way that you look at me and think yeah, you're a good little girl. No, I'm not. I am not in any way, shape, or form a good little girl. I am neither good nor little nor a girl. Like, just not. None of those adjectives fit me.
Right.
So when it's just kind of like thrown in there, I'm like, fine. Like, okay, you got on the bandwagon of good girl.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's most effective when used as praise, which is what it was intended to be.
Yes. I mean,
and
it also
yes.
goes to like the whole, and I am not making this comparison at all. Please don't think that, but it goes back to how we talk to our pets. You know, that's when your dog does something, you're like, good girl, you know, like,
oh yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. So if it's used ineffectively, as you said, it makes me feel that way. Like, I don't get the infantilization so much as I get like the being treated like an animal. And I'm like, I'm not, that's nope. That's not what I am. I am a human. I am a grown up. I'm you know. But if it's used, if it's used ineffectively, like,
yes.
Put that out there.
Taylor Tomlinson has a bit where she talks about how she thought she liked dirty talk, but it turns out she just liked dirty talk that was pre-approved.
Yes, I mean, 100%. Yeah. You want to have that conversation because, I mean, me personally, I do not like in a scene or in an encounter with a romantic or sexual partner, I do not like being called bitch. Some people do.
Yes.
When they have a degradation, when they enjoy degradation. I don't. Don't call me that. I have told multiple partners that. I'm like, you can call me this, and this. Do not call me this or this or this.
Yeah.
And bitch is one of them. Like, no.
And that's one of the things about negotiation in scenes is you get to talk through that stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
Whereas when people are doing what I call like kink light.
Yeah.
This kind of like, ooh, we're going to be spicy in the bedroom. I'm going to like maybe touch my hand to your butt while fucking you. And I'm like, that's not the same as a spank.
Nope.
You've probably hit something you shouldn't.
Yep.
You don't know, like, what is the intention the spank? Are you trying to have them feel it the next day? Like you don't know.
Yeah.
But like, it's like whenever I see someone just like wham on the side of a butt cheek, I'm like, that's not kinky.
Yeah.
That's a sensation that some people might like in the bedroom, but it's not a spanking.
Yeah.
Friends. Like it's not a spanking.
Yeah.
And though it is a form of impact, so you should be conscientious of where you're hitting.
Yes.
Like you can feel my hip bones. I don't want you hitting my hip bones. You need to hit the meat of my glutes and my thighs.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of meat on my glutes or my thighs, but not everyone does.
No.
And are you going for the physical sensation or the sound?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that your partner likes? Is it the sound or is it the sensation? Because you can get a really good smack sound without a really hard hit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or you can get a really hard hit, but it doesn't have a really large sound.
Exactly, as well.
What is it?
But that's the whole point. And this is, you can research this. You can look this up. And I feel, especially when it comes to kink specifically, just because it does require that safety and that consent and that discussion, I feel like a lot of that is on the authors themselves to do that research so that they can put
it in
their books correctly.
Yes. And that's why I view this as an objective thing to criticize.
Yeah.
Because what it says to me is you either, and I'm not talking about dark romance. Like, dark romance is its own thing. It's like monsters. Like, a monster schlong can do what it does.
Yeah.
dark romance, as long as there's a note saying like, this is not kink, this is a dark fantasy,
Yes.
this is dark romance, do not do this at home,
Right.
don't try this at home, friends,
Right.
kind of like What If, how Randall Monroe is like, don't do this.
Yeah.
I like it when the physics says something's gonna blow up. In real life, I don't want stuff to blow up.
Exactly.
My equation says explosion, and that's cool because it's an equation on my paper.
Yeah.
I don't want you to take this and put it into practice.
Yeah.
Like, you can have the same type of thing in dark romance. Isn't it interesting and fun, maybe healing or explorative to think about this thing?
Yeah.
But it's not something that you should then take and put into practice.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I also judge dark romance when they get some objective things wrong, like words or kink or bondage or penis size. I still think that is incorrect. That can be incorrect. But in terms of when it comes to certain aspects of power dynamics, dark romance has its own set of rules separate from kink.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It does. It is in a sense its own genre, just like a PNR or something like that.
Yes, it is. It is. I think of it as its own genre. It has its own rules.
Yeah.
But as we are seeing more like kink light or actual kink in romance, I do criticize when they are not done correctly. There was, I'm not going to name it because I love this author, but there was a book and definitely introduced a weird power dynamic without negotiation. And I was like, ooh, this is not something you do on the fly, friends.
No.
Like you don't get to play voyeurism on the fly.
No.
It's getting really messy when these like kink light dynamics are getting brought up, but they're not negotiated or talked about ahead of time the same way a kink scene is, where again, I will not name names for this book because I like the book and I love the author, but a partner expressed a fantasy to another partner. And it included a little bit of a costume, and it included some like dirty talk. Like, I want you to, like, I had this fantasy that you like pulled me into a public space and you forced me to give you head. Okay, great. Like, you put me down on my knees and like fucked my face.
Yeah.
Perfectly valid fantasy.
Yeah.
Perfectly valid scene. However, and it was so lovely and wonderful, and I appreciated it. And they did talk about how they did research, and he had notes, like the top had notes on his arm for like how to do it. Really cute, but he just like made it happen suddenly. And like they were out in public, and then they were like, we're going to the bathroom, and like pulled him into the bathroom, and he was wearing the costume and he said the things. And I was like, that's really sweet because you like made this thing happen. However, like you didn't talk about like, and then he did, he was like, I think I'm supposed to have safe words like red, yellow, and blue. And like, it's really cute, but and like, oh, spontaneity. But I would have rather had a conversation ahead of time.
Yes.
Even if it's, you don't know when I'm going to do this. Like, all right, this is something you want.
I was just going to say that.
Even if you want the spontaneity of like, this happens, like this might happen whenever, but like when it happens, what are the words that we use? If you're choking on my dick, what hand gestures will you use? Do you want me to come on your mouth or on your face? Do you want me not to come at all? Like, do you want to come? What are the things? Like, and because this fantasy specifically involved a power dynamic that, yes, the bottom expressed to the top and the top did his own research and made it happen. it still felt like it was done wrong in some ways to me. And we're getting these like kink-ish dynamics in contemporary romance without the safety nets of actual kink put in there.
Yeah.
And that I think is a little worrisome to me because so little communication happens in just plain old vanilla sex.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to introduce, like let's say new partner, I wanted to play with a butt plug in me.
Yeah.
Like I would still talk to my partner ahead of sexy times to say, hey, I want to experiment with a butt plug in me. How do we do this? Like, do you want it to already be inside me when you come over? Do you want to put it in me? Are you comfortable having sex with me with a plug in my ass? Or is that like sensation a little odd to you?
Yeah.
Are you open to just like me butt play in general? Or is that something that you are not comfortable with? Like, that is not something that like I wouldn't, number one, I would never show up and be like, guess what's in my ass? And number two, I would never, what the fuck is coming out of my mouth in this episode? And I would never just like reach into the drawer. Yes, I have a drawer. It is overflowing. And like pull out the butt plug and lube and be like, are you ready? Like I would never do that.
No, that is ambushing and that's not okay.
And like, even if like when I'm with a new partner, and I will say like pretty much 99% of my partner, I don't have 100 partners, but like percentage wise, 99 of them are still phallus. They have a phallus that has sensation for them. And I don't know if I would, especially nowadays, like I probably did when I was younger because we didn't know any better. And like, that's on me too. Like I own this. So if anyone that I ever gave a blowjob to and did this, like I apologize. I am sure I didn't. But now I would never, ever touch a man's taint without asking. I love putting my mouth on a taint. I love a taint. But not every man does. It can be ticklish. It can be weird.
Yeah.
They might feel like it's too close to the anus and they're not like okay with butt stuff. They might not even like their balls touched. Maybe they had like a biting incident by someone in the past and they're just gun shy. Like you don't know. You don't know.
No.
Also, some people like their balls touched really firmly and some people like their balls touched really gently.
Yeah.
You should ask. Like I ask now, like, what do you like in a blowjob? When your dick is, this is just vanilla. This is just about a regular old blowjob.
Yeah.
Like, when your dick is in my mouth, what do you want? And also, if my partner, and I try not to do this also when we're in the heat of the things, and they're like, I don't know, I can't think about anything. All my blood has gone south. Like, ahead of time, if they can't verbalize what they want, that's an I'm not going to say bad sign because men are victims of the patriarchy too and are not taught to think about like what feels good and how to ask and talk about sex. But if they're not willing to dialogue and if I can't like pull out some information of like, well, do you like when your tip is licked? Do you have a foreskin or not? Like maybe I don't even know. Do you have a foreskin? Do you like it when it's moved? Do you like it lubed? Do you like what's the most sensitive part? Do you like being deep throated? Do you like gagging sounds? Do you not like gagging sounds? Some people do not like a gagging sound.
Some people do not like that.
Some people don't. And so if you go back and listen to the How I Rate Things episode, my feelings about things and my spice ratings.
Yes.
The spice ratings are, it's interesting. The spice ratings are different. And I don't necessarily, like, they're normally about how much spice it is. And it's not, is it vanilla or is it kinky because one is spicier than the other? I don't necessarily think that's the case.
Yeah.
But I will criticize I won't necessarily adjust the spice level because spice is spice, even if it's incorrect spice.
Mhm.
But in my critiques of books, I will mention if something is subjective and I just don't personally enjoy it, but the things that are objective, I won't say I'm perfect. I won't say I won't get it wrong, but I really try to have the things that I am critiquing objectively
Yeah.
be backed up by fact.
Yes. Yeah.
I am not an expert. I do not hold an advanced degree in sex or kink or women's studies or any of that stuff. But I do my best to know what the fuck I'm talking about.
At
And
least even just a little bit.
even just a little bit. And so part of the reason why I wanted this episode is not only so that you understand what I'm talking about objectively with objective criticism, but so that you know, as a reader of romance, not you, Seffi, but like you, the collective,
Yes.
that you can also do your research and build an understanding of how to critique these books objectively so that you keep yourself safe. If you believe all kink is subjective, you might mistakenly try something in an unsafe manner.
Oh, yeah.
You might introduce something incorrectly or without consent of your partner, or that like anatomically that does not go there. Like just no.
round a peg into a...
So when you're doing your own objective critique, make sure that you're backing it up with fact. These aren't your opinions, objective versus subjective. It's very important to know the difference, because if you are going to be sharing this with more than just the group chat, being able to differentiate between the two helps other people. Your opinion, totally valid, but shouldn't be treated as fact.
Yeah.
Facts should also not be treated as opinions. There's a difference, and it's important to note what is objective and what is subjective.
Yes. Absolutely.
So with that, go forth, read books, and if you need, I can be your group chat. Bye. Jace Reads Romance is a 3 Paws Productions podcast. Produced by Seffi, edited by Michael Achenbach. Our theme song is written and performed by Diana Weishauer. For show notes and more, head to www.jacereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE Reads Romance. Follow us on socials at Jace Reads Romance everywhere. For more exclusive content, visit us on Substack, where you'll find extended episodes, bonus episodes, and more. Have a question, story, or book recommendation you know I'll love? Email Jace at jacereadsromance.com or call and leave a voicemail at 661-JACE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. And as always, this is Jace, holding space for you.